Hey everyone, it's Amaze Files and welcome back to the channel. Get ready to dive into a world of bizarre and unbelievable laws that'll make you question everything you thought you knew. Did you know that in Italy it's illegal to die in some towns? Or that in Sweden naming your baby IKEA is banned? These sound ridiculous, but they're real laws still in effect today. We're about to embark on a wild ride across the globe, uncovering the strangest laws that seem like they're straight out of a Monty Python sketch. From wacky regulations about donkeys in bathtubs to peculiar prohibitions on whistling in public, these laws will leave you scratching your head and wondering, how did these ever get passed? So buckle up, hit that subscribe button and get ready to be amazed by the 10 strangest laws you won't believe still exist. Our first stop takes us to the land of the rising sun, Japan, where things get a little too personal, literally. Believe it or not, Japan has a law that dictates the maximum waistline for its citizens over 40. You heard that right? If you're over 40, the government is keeping tabs on your waist size. This law, known as the Metabo Law, was implemented in 2008 as part of a national effort to combat obesity and related health issues. The government set specific waistline limits, 33.5 inches for men and 35.4 inches for women, and companies and local governments are encouraged to conduct annual waist measurements for their employees. Now, you might be wondering, what happens if you exceed the limit? Well, it's not like the fashion police come knocking on your door with a measuring tape. Instead, individuals who exceed the limit are given health counseling and encouraged to make lifestyle changes to slim down. While the law might seem intrusive to some, it reflects Japan's proactive approach to public health. The country has one of the lowest obesity rates in the developed world, and the Metabo Law, though unconventional, has played a role in promoting health consciousness among its citizens. So, if you're planning a trip to Japan and you're over 40, you might want to pack some loose-fitting clothes. Just kidding. But seriously, the Metabo Law is a fascinating example of how different cultures approach public health challenges. It's not just about waistlines, it's about fostering a culture of health and well-being. From traditional diets rich in fish and vegetables to community exercise programs, Japan's holistic approach to health is something the world can learn from. The Metabo Law is just one piece of a larger puzzle that includes diet, exercise, and regular health checkups, all contributing to a healthier society. So next time you think about public health, remember Japan's unique approach. It's not just about numbers on a tape measure, it's about a lifestyle that promotes longevity and quality of life. Next, we're heading stateside to Arizona, where the Wild West meets wacky laws. Arizona is known for its stunning desert landscapes, rich history, and unique cultural heritage. But did you know it also has some of the quirkiest laws in the country? Hold your horses, folks, because this one's a real head-scratcher. It's a law that will make you do a double take and wonder how it ever came to be. In the sunny state of Arizona, it's illegal for donkeys to sleep in bathtubs. Yes, you heard that right. No donkey slumber parties in the tub. This peculiar law has left many scratching their heads in disbelief. You might be wondering, why would anyone even think to put a donkey in a bathtub? Well, the story behind this law is just as strange as the law itself. This bizarre law dates back to 1924 and has a rather unusual origin story. It all started in the small town of Prescott, Arizona, where a series of unexpected events led to the creation of this law. Apparently, back in the day, there was a dam near the town of Prescott, Arizona that overflowed, causing a massive flood. The floodwaters wreaked havoc on the town, and the residents were caught off guard. As fate would have it, a merchant had left his donkey tied to his bathtub, and when the floodwaters rushed in, the poor donkey was swept away and tragically drowned. This incident left the townsfolk in shock and mourning. The incident sparked outrage among the townsfolk who demanded justice for the drowned donkey. They couldn't believe such a tragedy had occurred and wanted to ensure it never happened again. And so, in a move that can only be described as legislating with emotion, the town council passed a law prohibiting donkeys from sleeping in bathtubs. It was their way of preventing any future mishaps involving donkeys and bathtubs. Now, over 90 years later, the law remains on the books, even though the chances of another donkey drowning in a bathtub incident are slim to none. It's a law that has stood the test of time, despite its odd origins. It's a quirky reminder of a bygone era and a testament to the enduring power of local legends. This law has become a part of Arizona's unique history and continues to intrigue both residents and visitors alike. So if you're ever in Arizona with your trusty donkey companion, make sure to find it a more suitable sleeping arrangement than a bathtub. After all, you wouldn't want to be the one to break this peculiar law. You wouldn't want to run afoul of the law, even if it is a bit of a strange one. It's just one of those unique quirks that make Arizona such an interesting place to explore. From the Wild West, we travel north to the Great White North, where we find ourselves in the quiet town of Petrolia, Ontario, Canada. This charming little town, with its picturesque streets and friendly locales, seems like the perfect place to relax and unwind. Now, if you're someone who enjoys a good whistle while you work, or perhaps while you stroll through the town, you might want to reconsider your tune in Petrolia. This seemingly innocent habit could land you in a bit of trouble. Why, you ask? Because whistling in public is strictly prohibited. Yes, you heard that right. This peculiar law, enacted in 1887, might seem like a bit of a buzzkill, especially for those who love to whistle a happy tune, but it actually has roots in the town's history. It's not just a random rule. There's a story behind it. Back in the late 19th century, Petrolia was a booming oil town, bustling with activity and noise. The constant noise and commotion from the oil industry were becoming a nuisance for the residents who lived there. In an attempt to restore some peace and quiet to their daily lives, the town council passed a bylaw prohibiting the whistling, along with other loud activities. This included calling, shouting, yelling, hooting, singing, or making any other loud or disturbing noises within the town limits. The goal was to create a more serene environment for everyone. While most of the prohibited noises are understandable given the context, the inclusion of whistling remains a head-scratcher to this day. It's one of those quirky laws that makes you wonder about its necessity. Despite its unusual nature, the law is still technically in effect, although it's rarely enforced. Most locals and visitors are unaware of it. So, if you find yourself strolling through the charming streets of Petrolia, you might want to resist the urge to whistle a happy tune. It might be best to enjoy the peace and quiet. You never know who might be listening. Perhaps an old-timer who remembers the bylaw, or who might be ready to issue a citation for excessive whistling, so keep your lips sealed and enjoy the tranquility of Petrolia. Hold on to your bubblegum, folks, because our next destination is Singapore, where chewing gum is about as welcome as a mosquito at a picnic. That's right, in Singapore, chewing gum is banned. This might seem like a drastic measure, but the ban, implemented in 1992, was born out of necessity. Singapore was facing a sticky situation with discarded chewing gum littering the streets, sidewalks, and even public transportation. People were sticking gum on subway doors, clogging up keyholes, and generally making a mess. The government, known for its strict approach to cleanliness and order, decided to nip the problem in the bud by banning chewing gum altogether. And just like that, Singapore transformed into a gum-free zone. The ban, though initially met with some resistance, has been largely successful in keeping the city-state clean. While there are some exceptions for therapeutic chewing gum, for the most part, chewing gum is a no-go in Singapore. So, if you're planning a trip to this pristine island nation, make sure to leave your gum at home. Otherwise, you might find yourself facing a hefty fine, or, worse yet, the wrath of Singapore's infamous chewing gum police. Our next stop takes us to the land of love, croissants, and peculiar pet naming laws. That's right, folks. In France, you can't legally name your pig Napoleon. This might seem like a strange law, but it actually stems from France's deep respect for its history, particularly its most famous emperor, Napoleon Bonaparte. The law, which dates back to the early 20th century, was enacted to prevent any potential disrespect or mockery of the emperor's name. While the law might seem outdated and a bit silly today, it reflects the enduring legacy of Napoleon in French culture. The emperor's name is synonymous with French history, and the law, though rarely enforced, serves as a reminder of his lasting impact. So, if you're ever in France and you're thinking of getting a pet pig, you might want to cross Napoleon off your list of potential names. Unless, of course, you're a fan of pushing the boundaries of legal pet naming conventions. Get ready for another round of bizarre baby name laws because we're heading back to Scandinavia, this time to Sweden. In the land of meatballs, ABBA, and flat-pack furniture, you might be surprised to learn that you can't legally name your child IKEA. That's right, the Swedish government has deemed the name of the beloved furniture giant off-limits for newborns. But why, you ask? Well, Sweden, like many countries, has laws in place to protect children from names that might be considered offensive, inappropriate, or just plain weird. In the case of IKEA, the government likely determined that the name, being synonymous with a commercial entity, would not be in the best interest of the child. Plus, can you imagine the playground taunts? Hey IKEA, assemble yourself a friend. While IKEA might be the most surprising name on Sweden's banned list, it's not alone. Other names that have been rejected include Superman, Metallica, and even Elvis. So, if you're planning on naming your child after your favorite superhero, rock band, or furniture store, you might want to check with the Swedish government first. Our next stop takes us to Italy, the land of pizza, pasta, and, wait for it, towns where it's illegal to die. You heard that right? In certain small towns scattered across Italy, dying is strictly prohibited. Now, before you start thinking that these towns have discovered the secret to immortality, let me explain. The reason behind this morbid law is actually quite practical, a lack of cemetery space. In these towns, which are often ancient and have limited land available, cemeteries have reached their capacity, leaving no room for new burials. Faced with this dilemma, some town councils have resorted to desperate measures, enacting laws that prohibit residents from dying. Of course, the law is more symbolic than anything else, as it's impossible to enforce. However, it does highlight the very real issue of overcrowding in these historic towns. The no-dying law serves as a reminder of the challenges faced by these communities as they grapple with limited resources and a growing population. Or at least a population that's not allowed to decrease. And there you have it, folks, 7 of the strangest laws from around the globe that are still technically on the books. From donkey sleeping arrangements to prohibited whistling and even a ban on dying, these laws prove that truth is often stranger than fiction. Which law shocked you the most? Was it the waistline police in Japan, the donkey in a bathtub ban in Arizona, or maybe the idea of getting a citation for whistling in Canada? Let us know in the comments below which law you found the most bizarre, and if you could make a weird law, what would it be? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more amazing content, and as always, thanks for watching.